Welcome, everyone, to Come to the Edge today, where together we explore the adventures of growing and living in joy. I'm Joan Kappas, your host and producer on Amazing Women of Power, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. At Come to the Edge today, we explore joy. Where does it live? How do I access it? Why is it that joy seems to be experienced so naturally by some and not so much by others? What do I need to do to get off this coulda, shoulda, merry-go-round I'm constantly on so I have a chance of experiencing my joy? Do I need to find it, or is there another way of experiencing it today when my current circumstances seem far from being capable of offering any kind of joy? What does living a life in joy look like? What do joyful people focus on? Can I learn what they know? Can I be joyful too? Well, the intention of this show is to explore these questions and rediscover that joy that's inside all of us. This is a hands-on show filled with many adventurous guests who are uncovering their joy path by answering the daily invitation to come to the edge today. And they'll be sharing their journeys, ahas, tips, and tools so you can become reacquainted with your inner joy, uncover what holds you back from being more, and learn how to let go of what keeps you from experiencing higher levels of joy, and then to discover how to choose joy and experience it every day. Abraham, one of my favorite teachers, said, "The purpose of life is joy." And then they said, "You are joy looking for a way to express." Well, hearing this was music to my soul because finally there were words for expressing what I've always known and felt inside, that joy is part of the fabric of who we are. And how do we know this? Because we know joy. No one ever has to explain what joy is, do they? We just know it when we feel it, don't we? And at some level, all of us have experienced joy of some sort at least once. Joy is always with us because each of us walks on our very own path of joy. We often don't realize it because over the years it has become covered up with layers of limiting beliefs and resulting negative experiences that have dulled our golden path. We've continued to walk on joy's path, just at lower levels. For example, anger, frustration, and disappointment are levels of our path, but just at lower levels. The good news is you can quickly learn what level you are on and how to get to the next level and the next and the next until you're living at the higher levels of joy. You know, the ones you've always wanted, like hopefulness, enthusiasm, appreciation, and joy. So what does this path have to do with coming to the edge and leaping? Well, each of us receives daily invitations from life to come to the edge today, to take a new, more expansive look at who we really are and to leap into growing and rediscovering our joy. When you accept that daily invitation to come to the edge today, you are saying yes to becoming aware of your joy path, choosing it, letting go of what holds you back, and experiencing the fun of living at those higher levels of joy every day. Now, my special guest today is truly committed to letting go of what holds her back. She's a fearless trailblazer when it comes to sweeping off her path so she can now live at her higher levels of joy day by day. So please welcome a truly fabulous leaper, Cassandra Lyons. Now, Cassandra is a certified law of attraction coach, empowerment, and well-being specialist. She's also a practicing certified massage therapist, craniosacral energy therapist of 17 years. She experiences great joy sharing all of her tools and techniques mixed with years of personal experience and professional training that help you to discover and create the life and business that you love and make great money doing it from a place of authenticity, ease, and joy. She's so happy to be inspiring people around the world to connect with their inner wisdom, to live their dreams, build confidence by knowing their worth and their value, and create their deepest desires for their lives and businesses. Today, she invites you to come to the edge and let your light shine, to be beautiful you. So welcome, Cassandra. So glad you're here today.
Thank you, Joan. I am so glad to be here today.
We're going to have some fun stories to share today, so I'm just so pleased that you are here, and I know your message is just something that listeners will just be able to think about and ponder and grow from. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much.
I appreciate it, too.
Now, when I asked you what you wanted to focus on during our time together, you eagerly said that you wanted to share with everyone your aha story about the gift of clarity in your life, which led to your life-changing declaration, I get to choose to trust me. Now, this is quite a story. So if you could let us know, what was the invitation, the experience, the awareness that you learned from life that invited you to be more, and what was going on, and what were the circumstances, and just tell us your aha experience.
Absolutely. I think back to when I was really little, I experienced two fathers that left my life. And they're still in my life, but they left being in that, cohesive family. And that really created a lot of beliefs, and that created a lot of feeling in my body that ended up really being something that I wasn't fully aware of until I became, into junior high school. And this is where I started to really become, as we're in junior high, you're exploring who you are. You're trying to figure out who you are. And really up until that point, I had been just being me. I had been playing outside. I've been just having fun. Life was happening and there was things that were happening. But I think it wasn't until I got into junior high, I started to realize that as I shined my light, people were drawn to that, me being me. But it also, I was realizing that at that point, being that I was in, 7th, 8th grade, that I didn't really fully know my worth and my value. And so what ended up happening is, because that was uncomfortable for me, as people were drawn to me and they wanted to be my friend, and, and it even showed up as people being jealous of me. And that was painful for me because I just really cared about people. I really wanted friends. I really wanted to be liked. And, of course, I had that old feeling still in my being that, well, what if people don't like me, then they might leave. And so I started to learn how to adapt, instead of shining my light and being me and listening to my own inner wisdom, I basically just thought, well, I'll be like the chameleon in every situation. I'll be friends with everybody. I can shift from group to group, but I'll just be what they want me to be. And so that was how I lived. And it was really painful for me, though, because I wasn't being me, but also people weren't liking me, and for one reason or another. And even though I was trying to be something other than myself. So I decided, that I was going to go to a different high school. So I went to a different high school and realized that it was everywhere. And I went back to my original high school with all these people that I had been in junior high with, and actually had a really good year. I was coming to myself a little bit more, and that's a decision I made, and I felt a little bit better in my life. Fast forward into my last job working for someone else. I got hired, and I was excited because I really liked the values that this company portrayed. Going to get to come in and be a massage therapist, doing, something that I love, making a difference, and being able to do it in a way with other people and collaborating. And I was having a really good time and was really feeling like this job was probably the best job I'd ever had working for somebody else, and things were going really well. People really liked me, and I was shining my light. Even my supervisor was even making comments like, you're so amazing and you're so good at what you do and we just love you. And it was constant. And again, I hit that wall of how much I could let in and how much I felt comfortable letting in, because I thought, well, what if they really get to know me? What if they get to know me and then they're going to leave too? What if they get to see that I'm maybe not perfect or not what they think that I am? I didn't know, again, my value and my worth. Instead of just continuing to shine my light doing what I was doing, I started to feel like I had to be something else. I was trying to be what they wanted me to be. We hired another massage therapist, and it was perfect. She was a perfect teacher for me. She challenged me to be me, And she was a very strong personality. And again, I'd grown up to be kind of the adapter person who wants people to be comfortable. And so I realized the first day that this person started that, and I had been in doing a massage, and I came out and we were sharing a desk, and she had rearranged the entire desk. And my whole being was just like, why did you do that? Like, why you just rearranged the entire desk you just got here. This is the way I had everything set. And she said, well, this didn't make sense to me. So I rearranged it. I hope you don't mind. And I said, no, I don't mind.
Isn't that interesting how life gives us reminders and opportunities to clarify things that we took on when we were younger and we forgot that it was just something we took on, and then all of a sudden, years later, here comes this woman who could be a contrast, and all of a sudden, there she is showing you who you could be?
Yes, absolutely, and you're so right. And at the time, I had just finished my first coaching training, so I had some conscious awareness. I had been working on some things in my life. So I was aware, but it was not without challenge. I was thankful that I had been more opened up, had more tools and more resources, but there was still that piece of, like, all this stuff was starting to come to the surface, and I had a choice. I had a choice of whether or not I was going to continue to be the adapter, the person who was not listening to my own inner wisdom, but was so worried about people not liking me or not wanting to be friends with me that I would trust their inner wisdom. Not even necessarily trusting. It's just more like I didn't want to be left. I didn't want to, to rock the boat. So I just adapted. I was there with them for about 2 years, and in the time, everything had been really so much fun, exciting. Then we hired the person, and I was even a part of the hiring of this woman. Then all this stuff starts to happen, and all this stuff starts coming up. And the way that I'm handling it isn't, I didn't like the way I was being. I wasn't being a person that I truly wanted to be. I was no longer shining my light most of the time. I was starting to complain, and I was just really out of alignment. And at that point, I decided that I was going to, because my health started to get affected. So I decided, well, I'm not in alignment. I'm going to try to get in alignment. Maybe I'll see if I can do part-time here and if I can work part-time at home. And the chiropractor, ended up catching wind of this and thought that I was trying to take the client. Complete misunderstanding, but what ended up happening is here's this person who I had developed this great relationship with, this chiropractor. Her and I had been so close, and there was a very loving connection there. And she completely had her stuff come up and thought that I was trying to take all of her clients. It was a complete misunderstanding, but there wasn't an opportunity for me to clarify. There was no, I tried to go to my supervisor, I tried to go to her, and finally it came back to what can I do within me? And I knew the truth of the situation.
You've been listening to Come to the Edge today with me, Joan Kappas, on the Amazing Women of Power, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International. And my guest today is Cassandra Lyons, and she is telling us a story about how she came into trusting her own wisdom. Cassandra, so now you've had this developing story of 2 years at your workplace, your health is being affected, this chameleon thing, you had pretty much said, okay, I get what's going on here. So what happened next? What occurred where you said enough?
I was running into the wall over and over and over and over, and I wasn't being me, and I just finally was ready. I knew it because I just had to do something about it. I knew if I would have taken off and there were so many times I wanted to bail out of there. And had I done that, it would have been premature. And I felt like I wanted to stay present to really be able to be present in the now and find the joy in the now without running away from it. And so when I decided that I was ready to just, I couldn't do anything different at this point. I had to be authentic. I had to listen to my own inner wisdom. I just decided I was just ready. I was there, and I just finally decided that this is the time that I had to be me. That was my leap. If I did not do this, it felt like I was going to, like, I don't know. I can't think of what the worst situation in that moment was for me, but I just felt like I could no longer do this the way that I was doing it. And it was at that point that I just decided I have to know what's true for me. And I know that I'm being authentic, and I take full responsibility for what I've been being, and now how I am going to continue to be in a new way. And in the new way is me being connected to me, being fully me, no matter what anybody else decides.
So when you made that decision, how did it feel? Once you came to the awareness that you did make that decision, how did that feel, and what happened next?
Well, it was really interesting because I don't know that I had really ever made that decision before. I think that's why I think the story was so important for me, is because it was such a monumental place for me saying enough. And not just enough to everybody else, but enough to myself, enough not being me. And so it was so freeing. It was so freeing to know that every time I would kind of go, okay, this chiropractor's still not talking to me, and people are having their opinions, and I'd check in with myself and go, is there anything else I feel like I should be doing differently? No, I'm in alignment with me. I know what's true, and I know what I've been being, and I take responsibility. I was free. I was fully present in my being. I was no longer feeling affected by even this really uncomfortable situation that I was in. I was continuing to work there even though I didn't necessarily want to be there, but it wasn't as stressful. I was going to work and being able to just sit in authenticity and integrity, knowing that I was showing up, being fully me. I felt free. Wow. And I could see the discomfort in everybody else, and I was able to actually have more compassion at that point. I was able to just be like, this is, I guess, where you're at, and that's okay, because that's where you're at. And where I'm at is in my truth, and that's where I choose to be. And I'm not going to sit there and try to adapt anymore. And when I did just stay in my truth, it all worked out anyway, because they fired me, and then they let go of the program, and I was completely, excited and happy. For me, it was that when I did get let go, there wasn't any worry, there wasn't any concern. It was like, wow, that was a big learning opportunity.
Seems like a big gift for you was you took the same circumstance and decided for yourself to stay, and what you learned was peace and freedom and higher levels of joy, and the circumstance didn't change. Well, that's a big gift. Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very painful at times, but once I came to that place, and it was just getting to that place of, really being kind of done, not feeling good. Like I'd felt crappy enough for too long in my life that it wasn't worth it anymore. And something had to change. I was having physical symptoms in my body. I wasn't sleeping well. I was feeling so miserable. And I thought, I'm not in integrity, and that was the piece. I was not in integrity, and I was not authentic. And for me, I'm growing. I'm always committed to growing and learning and expanding. And so at that point, because I had already just done, the coaching training, I knew more, I had expanded more. It was at that point I was like, okay, I have a choice. I can either continue to be adapting, or I can be more aware and take my life to that next level.
It sounds like you had this awareness and you intentionally made a decision, and your life hasn't been the same ever since. Is that so?
Yes.
So how would you describe your life since then? I know that's been a while since that happened, but how would you say your life has expanded since then, and what happened?
Well, at that point, I had been, massage therapist for, I think at that point it was 12 years. And I decided that I was going to really make my business work. So I have been self-employed since then, which has been hugely rewarding. And since then, I have gone to the training to be a law of attraction coach. a couple of years ago, I committed to working with a personal coach for 6 months, and I, at the time, had probably $25 in my account and wasn't quite sure how in the world I was going to come up with $5,000 to work with this woman up front. But I knew that I was ready to take some major changes in my my well-being and my financial life, and to really break through some of these things that had been holding me back. And within 2 months, I had her paid up front. So, I mean, it's been developing my inner wisdom. When I am stuck on something, I would say 99% of the time now I can just be able to sit and just go quiet. And if I'm having, a hard time with it, and I'll either get a yes or a no. And if I don't get the answer yet, then I just allow that, that there's still more information to come. But I trust my inner wisdom now 100%. I listen to it. So there's, to me, since then, these major growth changes and wonderful things that have been happening, the people that I've been attracting into my life, and also, having those experiences where I'm still being called, to come to the edge, to be able to take another leap. And still occasionally will experience attracting people into my life that are helping me to practice listening to my inner wisdom, trusting my inner wisdom. And it's like, oh, and basically now I'm able to recognize that I'm calling someone in again for whatever, reason, to continue to help me to expand and grow, and to just even more solidify that I can really follow my inner wisdom. So I really feel like it was such a great leap to take because those are just a few things that I've shared. Wow. But, I feel so much more alive than I have since I was little.
What does trusting your inner wisdom and hearing that inner voice have to do with living a life of higher joy?
Well, for me, I feel like it's everything, because it's the difference between being fully you. The way I look at it is that I am, an extension of God. And so what I want is to be able to put my energies into the world as an extension of God. But when I'm living in fear, and when I'm not trusting my inner wisdom, when I'm just trying to adapt, when I'm living by old beliefs, when I'm not really listening, I'm not really being fully me. Those things aren't bad. It's just that I'm further away from God. And so what I want to be is connected to God in a really intentional way. And so by listening to that inner wisdom, my life is easier, it's more joyful, it brings in people and places and experiences and things that really help my life to be more full and joyful, and living in a way that is the way that I think is more fun and more exciting, and I feel things in a much different way than when I'm not listening. When I'm not listening, it's like trying to paddle my boat up the river, and it's like I'm all alone, and I feel alone, and I don't feel connected. This way, it's like there is something bigger than me that I am a part of, that I am, and if I live in that, my life is just so much more peaceful and amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, everyone, you've been listening to Come to the Edge Today Radio with me, Joan Kappas, on the Amazing Women of Power, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International. And my guest today has been Cassandra Lyons. Well, it's time for this week's leaping exercise, and the past few weeks, as you know, we've been building our awareness muscle, and we have another awareness-building exercise this week. One of Cassandra's tools for experiencing her higher levels of joy in her life is the How Do I Feel tool. She learned to trust her soul and her bigger self by using this technique, so we thought it would be good to share that with everyone today. She developed the habit of checking in with herself about everything by slowing down and asking, how does this thought feel? How does this decision feel? How does this circumstance feel? Does it feel upstream, like she mentioned, like I'm paddling against the current, or downstream, like I'm going with the current? Well, then she started to listen and feel for the inward answer, and this is a habit that she has created, and we're going to create that habit too. New habits may seem awkward at first, but that's okay because we're just learning to notice and become aware of our thoughts. And when it comes to living those higher levels of joy, it's a really important habit to develop. Now, I'll have this exercise on my website at ComeToTheEdgeToday.com. So you can go to the website, look at the radio show button, and you'll see leaping exercises listed there. Here we go. So using the My Joy-Filled Life journal and notebook that you purchased, we're going to play the Abraham Hicks upstream-downstream game. To begin, just list 10 thoughts that you notice that you have, okay, just any 10, and write them down on your journal or notebook. For example, I need to lose weight, but I'm not disciplined. Or, I like having an extra day off from work. Or, a coworker leaves for work early every day and asks me to cover for her. Then ask yourself about each. Is this an upstream thought, meaning it feels like I'm paddling upstream? Or a downstream, meaning it feels like more relief, like I'm going downstream in my boat? So, for example, the I need to lose weight, but I'm not disciplined feels upstream, doesn't it? The I like having an extra day off from work feels more downstream. And a coworker leaves for work early every day and asks me to cover for her most likely feels a little bit upstream. So with your 10 thoughts, ask yourself for each, does this feel upstream or downstream? There's no need to judge it, and just be aware of the feelings of each thought, okay? Now, the upstream feeling is your soul and inner self saying, turn the other way with that thought. And the downstream feeling is your soul and inner self saying, yes, yes, go this way. This is where you want to focus. It's a great guidance system for you. So that's why we want to invite you to practice that, because it will really help with you becoming aware of what's going on so that you can learn to trust your inner wisdom as Cassandra has done. Cassandra, any final tips that you'd like to share regarding trusting your inner wisdom and clarity?
I would say the last thing, this is just something that takes, a little bit of practice. And one thing I was just going to say that I will do sometimes, if I'm just not getting that clarity that I want, like say, for instance, just today, I was at the store and I was a little bit like, do I really want to get these towels? I'm not sure if I want to get these towels or not. So what I decided to do is I just stood there with a towel in my hand and I was like, is this something that I want right now? Forward for yes, backward for no. And what I would do is I would, either my body would move me slightly forward or slightly backward. So if you're a really kinesthetic person, if you really feel things, this can be some way to really help you also to be able to listen to that inner wisdom, feel it in your body. And it's just something that I have played around with. And I'll tell you that every time I do trust that, I feel so much better. So it's another little kind of fun thing you can play with. Be playful with it. It doesn't have to be really serious. You can be lighthearted, but it's just another way to help you continue to trust your inner wisdom.
Perfect. Thank you. If someone would like to contact you, what would they do to get in touch with you?
My website is beautifulcoaching.com. And my email is healing, HEALING, from within, MN@gmail.com.
Great. Absolutely fabulous. And Cassandra is a wonderful coach, and she is practical, and her tips and her insights and her openness to share and to help you open up your space, your inner space, is fabulous. So I highly recommend Cassandra as well. And I invite you to join me at my interactive website at ComeToTheEdgeToday.com, where you'll find literally hundreds of free themed coaching sessions designed with the intention of assisting you in uncovering your joy path so you can live the life you intended at those higher levels of joy. And for those of you who would like more personal support, I also offer one-to-one coaching. And this service is available regardless of where you live, so if it's your time to answer life's invitation and take that leap you know that's calling you, and you'd like someone there with you, contact me at my website at ComeToTheEdgeToday.com or via email at joankappas@gmail.com. That's Joan Kappas, Kappes, @gmail.com. Thanks again, Cassandra. This was great. I really appreciate it very much. And thanks, everyone, for coming to The Edge today. So until next time, remember that the destination is great, but it's the journey we came for, and it's the joy-filled journey that is life. Let's journey together. Bye-bye for now.